Hi, my name is Whitney Daniels, and this is my presentation on The Scream by Edward Munch, which was done in 1893. Um, a brief description of the painting. It's a representation of turmoil and chaos. There's a sexless figure in the forefront, holding his head with his mouth wide open, screaming. He's bald, he doesn't have any features, and he's wearing kind of a nondescript blue tunic. He is not anatomically correct, and he blends kind of his body is bent and he blends with the swirls of the sky and the sea. The bridge that he's standing on is very sturdy, it's got a sturdy rail. And the ocean and the sky are just flowing in bright colors that come together and they look ominous and dangerous. There are two male figures in the background on the bridge, and these two male figures look very calm and they look like they have no idea that this figure in front of them is experiencing horror and something terrible. Edward Munch was born in 1863, died in 1944. He was Norwegian. He was 80 when he died, and he was part of the Expressionism movement. He also used some Art Nouveau ideas with the swirls and the uh, with the different anatomical shapes. He was very inspired by Van Gogh and Gauguin. His family history was very sad. His mother died when he was young of tuberculosis. His sister died, and his father had really bad depression. And he himself had a mental breakdown, I think, in 1907. So he was always very fearful of going crazy. He had a fear of mental illness. So he was kind of neurotic, is how people saw him. Uh, of the Scream, he made four versions, two oil paintings and two pastels. He used oil paints with beeswax, oil crayons with beeswax, and Japan wax. I'm not sure what that is. He used pastels and paraffin wax crayons. And he did all of these four prints on cardboard, which I found was pretty interesting. I had no idea about the cardboard. The elements were, that's a lot of words, but line. There's the directional lines of the bridge, the contour lines of the figure screaming. The sky and the water all have implied lines. The vertical and diagonal lines on the bridge give it like the bridge looks very sturdy and strong. The implied lines in the water make it look like it's all moving and swirling and coming together. He used primary colors, red, blue, and yellow, and a secondary color, orange, were the main colors in it. And the use of the bright colors triggers passion and emotion. The sky is hot, the ocean is cold, and they're all swirling and coming together, and it feels very uncomfortable. Of course, motion, the swirling in the sky, the whirling and spinning, that creates a feeling of movement. And even the feeling of the figure in the forefront, he is also kind of swirling. He's not straight up and down, he's almost moving and swirling with the ocean and the sky. The values in it are generally dark. It's got dark blues and dark reds, and the color orange is very deep. But he does use a light value to separate the waves in the ocean and the red clouds in the sky to give it all kinds of depth and different layers. The principles, of course, are emphasis, which he emphasizes the screaming figure. Balance, he uses all of the different colors and lines and shapes and blends them to make this single picture. It doesn't look like a sky here and a ocean there, and there's the bridge. It all comes together and it's very balanced somehow. Variety again, all the different kinds of lines and colors, all the variety of the different elements come together to create the balance. The focal point. You could tell the focal point is the figure in the front. There are those two little small men in the back. You don't really notice them. There's also two little small boats that are up in the ocean in the sky, almost in the sky, but you really don't see them until you actually study the picture. Your focal point is the figure that's screaming. In the rhythm, it's a chaotic, fast rhythm. It's ominous, and you kind of feel like something bad is about to happen, and the figure in the forefront, he sees it, um, and it's coming. Mook was part of the Expressionism movement again. Instead of drawing what they saw, they drew what they felt. Um, the scream is, it was actually an experience that Munch had while walking with his friends. And there was a quote. He said that he suddenly felt a scream piercing through nature while on a walk. And that's where the scream came from. It's actually what he felt like inside. He had this terror that nature and the elements were going to come and swallow up humanity and be taken over. It was a real anxiety for him. And so this moment that's caught in Scream is actually what he was feeling when he was taking his walk. I wanted to, like I said, he was very inspired by Van Gogh. And I look at Starry Night and I can see the same swirls in the sky. Starry Night, in contrast, is very calming. It looks very peaceful. It's very pretty. He used the blues and the whites and the yellows, where Munch's, of course, is reds and oranges and the dark blues, creating a very different feeling. But you can see it's a lot the same technique that they used. Why is it important? I think that Munch really caught the fear and anxiety that a lot of us have, and the loneliness that we have, in this sexless, pitiful figure just screaming all alone on a bridge because they can see it and they can feel it. It's obviously resonated throughout time. There's little Charlie Brown and Lucy and Snoopy, and the Scream, the movie, The Mask is obviously inspired by this, and it just, all kinds of people can relate to it in a way, because I feel I can see that emotion in myself when I look at the Scream. I feel like I felt like that at a time in my life. I've always loved this painting. I've always, you know, wanted to learn more about it. So I think it'll live on. And I hope you enjoyed the presentation. Thank you.